Holy badonkadonks, it's a day late, and I'm so glad to be here, guys. When Fat Mac asked to push the podcast back by a day, I was very disappointed because I could not wait to share the news with you. This is the most outstanding and stellar news since
Trump ran for president.
Joe Biden has picked Kamala to be his running mate as vice president. Oh my God! I'm so excited.
Pacey.
I'm so excited, Fat.
Pacey.
What?
I know you're a big fan of the Ugandan giant and everything, but Kamala's dead.
What? No, he's gonna be vice president.
No, Kamala's dead. He died on Sunday.
Wait, what are you talking about?
You know Kamala Harris. You know the Ugandan giant, the Ugandan headhunter, the Ugandan monster. A lot of Ugandan hyphens. Yeah, he's dead. He died. I don't know where this whole Joe Biden thing comes from.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Sorry to be the sugar bearer of bad news.
Oh shit! What was I thinking?
Can't get enough of them sugar critters.
So why am I hearing Kamala's gonna be vice president?
I think that's a different Kamala.
Senator Kamala Harris, right?
Yeah, Senator. But yeah, and I know Kamala and Harris. I know Kamala's last name is Harris, his last name, but it's a completely different person. A female.
Oh, well,
female
what?
Even. Yeah, female.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, two different people.
Oh, shit. I already had posters printed out. My car has a big decal on it. Dude, I was full bore for Biden and Kamala.
You know, I would vote. That's probably the only way I would vote for Biden, is if he was running with Kamala. Let's see the Russians try to take us now. But it would be really awesome to find out if they are related in any way. That would be so cool. Like, you know, like her mom named her after her uncle.
Yeah,
Kamala,
so proud of the uncle. Yep.
That'd be so badass. But I guess we should
see her during the debates with the war paint on.
The big the tribal mask that he used to come out with.
Oh boy.
Stars on her titties and a big moon on the belly. Slapping that belly.
Trump wouldn't know what the fuck to do.
For the first time in his life, he'd probably be speechless.
Oh, God. Whew.
So that does, Pasty, that brings us to our top of the show news, which is sadly former WWF star James Sugar Bear Harris, better known to today's fans as Kamala, has passed away at the age of 70 this past Sunday. On August 5th, he tested positive for COVID-19 and was hospitalized. They say he likely contracted it from one of his numerous weekly visits to the dialysis center. Due to his COVID-19, he started to experience complications from his diabetes. Wilford Brimley couldn't help him. He just passed away. He then went into cardiac arrest on Sunday before dying later that afternoon. Fond memories of Kamala that go all the way back into the late 70s. Kamala made his WWF debut, though, in 1984 and would make his Raw in-ring debut in 1993. During his career there, the master of the pectoral claw, which was always a fun finisher, he just grabbed your tit.
Just shoves his whole peck into your mouth.
He feuded with Jake the Snake Roberts, Hulk Hogan, and probably most famously The Undertaker, where they have some really cool skits of Undertaker making like a custom casket for Kamala because he's so giant. Mm. Before that, though, he had also wrestled in promotions such as USWA, where he was a 4-time heavyweight champion, Mid-South Wrestling, AWA, World Class Championship Wrestling, NWA, and WCW, as well as wrestling in Mexico and Europe. And when he was over there, he was known as the Mississippi Mauler. In recent years, Kamala has had a number of health issues, including a battle with diabetes that required both of his legs to be amputated. In 2015, he released an autobiography called Kamala Speaks. Kamala was inducted in the Texas Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2012, and he is definitely a shoo-in as a future WWE Hall of Fame inductee.
I can't believe he's not already in the Hall of Fame. That is crazy.
Yeah, it really is. It would have been awesome for them to get him, before
Isn't
he
Godfather already in as Papa Shango?
passed. Godfather's in as Godfather,
Okay.
I believe, but yeah.
Yeah, this sucks. But, I mean, he didn't have legs.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. The end of his life was probably, it sounds like he was pretty rough, pretty bad. He seemed to have a positive attitude, but I recommend folks going out and watching some old Kamala stuff. They got a lot on the network. You can just search Kamala. They got old...
I'm sure they got a collection
stuff
put together now, too.
Maybe. They didn't when I looked, but it was shortly after his death. But some Mid-South wrestling stuff, some old WCCW stuff, or, hey, if you just want to watch what you know and like, watch him versus Hulk Hogan and him versus Undertaker and all of that, or just some of the skits that they did with Kamala. I remember on the old, when they used to have the Coliseum home videos, I don't remember which one it is, but they take Kamala to the bowling alley, and Slick was his manager at the time, and he's trying to teach him how to bowl, and Kamala's like just enamored with this shiny orb, and it's just hilarity ensues. It was one of those things where they'd cut in between matches, they'd cut back and show different skits of Kamala at the bowling alley. So fun stuff. He was one of my guilty pleasures. Not really a good wrestler by any means, but man,
He was entertaining. Sports entertainment is key, I think, when it comes to highlighting Kamala's career.
When you talk about characters, he was a character.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess on that note, Pacey, that's going to bring us into our token JRR, which actually comes to us from, I think the first time we've done one from the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast.
Yeah.
I guess it's just called the Steve Austin Show. He recently put out a retro interview that he did with Kamala, not too far back, but a while back. The quality isn't the best. Kamala was on a cell phone, so we apologize for that. But just to give you a little backstory, he's discussing his very first match with Andre the Giant, and Kamala had messed up a spot, and Andre got mad at him and called him the N-word. And I guess we'll just let Kamala take it from here.
Yeah, snapping to it.
And in the ring, he called me a real bad name because of a spot that I missed.
Right.
And, so anyway, he called me that name, and he got up and he nailed me. And when he nailed me, that's when I went crazy on him, and I drove him back into that corner, and I just beat until I just got tired of beating. But it wasn't like I was throwing him all over the place or nothing like that. It was just that I was just nailing him. He was covering up a lot, but then it busted his lip and all that kind of stuff. And but we made up for that. It didn't go on every night.
It didn't go on every night, but a couple of nights later in the dressing room, I guess it was the first time you'd seen him since that happened, and you had a come to Jesus meeting with that guy.
Yeah, well, what happened is I was still mad from the name he called me and the way he was, he jumped up and nailed me. Even though I got the best of it, the next night we was in Baton Rouge. And when we was in Baton Rouge, our dressing room John, all the dressing room John, and we could go back and forth and talk to each other. So I got my gun, put it in my pocket, over 357 Magnum, and I put it in my pants pocket. And I walked across over there to Andre. He was sitting there talking to Dusty Rhodes. And I said, Andre, don't you ever. I had my finger on his nose. I was popping his nose. And I'm glad to this day he didn't go. I know I probably would have been in prison because when you try to fight him, because if Andre fought back, I couldn't have whooped that big guy.
I like that he was smart enough before he went to confront him to grab his pistol.
Yeah. You're probably going to need it.
Like he said, if he decided to get mad, he'd be critical. But I give him credit for stepping up in the ring and just laying some potatoes on Andre. That takes balls.
You can't let anybody, no matter what their size, get that over on you.
No, even back then. Oh, funny stuff. Good stuff. I mean, I guess it's not good to pull guns on people and call people the N-word, but.
Right. But for its time.
Two giants of the ring clashing in a shoot. That's what's fun.
In a shootout?
It almost was. I bopped him on his nose, he said.
I want to see Andre the Giant try to hold a pistol.
Oh my gosh. His finger wouldn't even fit in.
Right.
There couldn't be a trigger guard on it. It couldn't be a trigger guard. I've never thought about that. That would be
Andre at the shooting range. That'd just be great. I guess even something like a shotgun would be kind of funny. Like he's not going to get it on his shoulder.
No, not at all. God, I never thought about that, but that would be interesting. Even just seeing him with like a knife. He'd need like a machete and it would just look like a knife to you and I.
What you doing with that butter knife?
Andre's in there slabbing some butter on his toast with a machete. Hilarious stuff.
Good stuff. We've been on this trip back in time, honoring Kamala and his life. Let's continue to remain back in time, Fat Mac, for this week in pro wrestling history.
Yes, sir, Pasty, and this one takes place 21 years ago when WCW presented Road Wild from the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally in Sturgis, South Dakota.
Talk about a group of people I'm pretty disgusted with this year.
I was just going to say, by the way, they're holding the Sturgis Rally still.
Fucking Tech Nine's putting on concerts. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh. Well, luckily, there was only 5,500 people there, so maybe they can stay
Bikers love Smash Mouth, by the way. That's what we learned this year.
Hey, now, they're an all-star. They get their game on. Go play. That was Smash Mouth, right?
Yes.
I know that one, and then he did the Shrek song, too.
Somebody! Yeah, that one. The meme.
So anyways, 5,500 were in attendance for the free event now, folks. People at Sturgis, this was just an event that was held on, and they were in the stands on their motorcycles. There weren't seats, there weren't bleachers. They were sitting on their Harleys. Instead of clapping, they'd rev their engine. It's fans are split on whether it was a good or bad concept. I always thought it was a unique concept, if nothing else.
Yeah, like having the first WCW Nitro in Mall of America.
Right, exactly. Right next to Hogan's Pasta Mania.
I'm sure a lot of people like that, but I'm from here, and I'm like, why would you do that? That's dumb.
But enough people must have thought it was a pretty decent idea because 235,000 homes were watching the pay-per-view, so it made good numbers. It was the final Road Wild event, though, as it would be replaced with New Blood Rising the next year and the final pay-per-view of the Eric Bischoff era as head of WCW. So, want to know what was on the show? Well, here we go. We've seen the Filthy Animals, Rey Mysterio Jr., Billy Kidman, and Eddie Guerrero, defeat Vampiro teaming with the Insane Clown Posse. Yes, the actual Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope. How are these guys not in the WWE Hall of Fame? They've wrestled...
They never will be.
They've wrestled in ECW, WCW, WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor. At least those 5. That's Hall of Fame worthy.
It
if
is.
You ask me.
What Hall of Fame would induct them, though?
And they run their own wrestling promotion. So, hello. I think they could at least get in the celebrity wing.
They should. I don't think it'll be the WWE Hall of Fame. But honestly, that's not the Hall of Fame I'd want to see them in anyway. I'd want to see something that's universally recognized.
That is true. I don't see the cauliflower alley club
No.
putting him in anytime soon.